Hello everybody, it's John Alexandrov, and since we're shooting these money videos, recently I've had a few questions about, well, John, how do I kind of like build a balanced financial life? Sometimes my financial life seems to be out of balance. Sometimes there's, tremendous amount of revenue coming in and I'm happy and everything seems to be going my way, and then maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, I look at my bank account and it's not an accurate reflection of all the hard work I've put into something, and I start to stress out about it again. Well, some of that is due to your mentality, and I've already shot many videos about that. You can go back through the archives and take a look at some of the previous videos we've done about developing your belief system, your subconscious belief system. And some of it is just due to a lack of planning. I mean, it is. I mean, when those times where the money's really flowing in and you feel so good, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, can it get any better than this? Well, that's a phenomenal time to be planning. That's a phenomenal time to make sure you're maximizing your IRA contribution for the year. Take the excess cash and deposit it, or making other investments, or making sure that your life insurance policy is fully funded, or whatever it may be. But there are some categories that I want you to think about in those times, and make sure that you fund these things so that when the times come where you feel like you're a little short of cash, you've already done it. Okay? You can just totally focus your mind on what's the solution to me making sure I get my cash flow back to where I want it. So think in terms of funding your whatever your retirement account is, making sure that you have a proper life insurance program. I know some people don't believe in life insurance. If you don't, you're making a big mistake, because it can be a good investment and it serves a lot of other purposes as well. Make sure that you have dedicated savings. Make sure that you're making prudent investments. Make sure that you're setting aside some money for unforeseen circumstances, because things happen. You're driving down the highway, you get a nail in your tire, the tire pops, you have to go buy a new tire. And that's just the reality of life sometimes, right? So have some money set aside for unforeseen circumstances. And of course, you want money for living now, right? You want to go to the movies tonight? You don't want to think twice about it. You want to go to dinner tonight? You don't want to think twice about it. You want to go buy a new sport coat? You want to go buy a new purse or whatever? You don't want to think twice about it, right? So make sure you have money allocated for living now. So here's the categories for you again, okay? Whatever your long-term planning vehicle is for retirement, make sure you're funding that. Life insurance, talk to someone who's an expert on life insurance, or I'm happy to answer questions there for you. Make sure that's set up properly. Savings, investments, unforeseen circumstances, and living now. That's a pretty healthy balance of making sure that you're staying on an even keel financially and mentally with your money. And it's also helping you save and plan for whatever your long-term wealth development plan is as well. So, but make sure, don't panic. Don't panic if all of a sudden all this money comes in and you start saying, well, what do I do with it? Well, there's some categories for you. And there may be times occasionally, if you don't follow my advice, by the way, there may be times occasionally where there's less money flowing in. Don't panic there either. The reason you don't have to is, one, you have a plan established, and you've already funded your plan. And two, when you use the subconscious development techniques that we've been teaching you now for months, you'll realize that that's just a temporary set of circumstances. Get refocused on what you want, get focused on the solutions to whatever you want your financial situation to be, and then go out and do that. Don't get caught up in what you don't have, as I mentioned in the last video. Focus on what you want. And I know many of you say to me, well, I want a nice, balanced financial life. I just gave you a few cornerstones to that. Of course, if we were coaching one-on-one, we'd have an entire wealth development plan for you. But for now, those are some pretty good basics.